Special meeting of the Ellsworth City Council to order. Special meeting to act on the budget resolutions for fiscal year 2025. City Manager Pierce, would you like to?
Yeah, first,
present?
just a thank you to the council, the whole management team, who I think we've done 3 or 4 rounds of budget cycles with the Tiger team, as we called ourselves, up in the finance war room, meeting every day for weeks on end. I think really proud of everything everybody put in, and then also to the city council for 16 meetings. Hopefully this one will be a quicker one. I mentioned last time we logged all the changes. We've really, I think, gone through this budget, 700 plus pages now, budget book, many times. We started at 18.2 with the mill rate. When we first put the budget book online, we're now at 17.55. I know I was really trying to get it to 17.3. We're gonna keep trying. This is also not the end of the process, I should say, with budgeting and financial oversight. We're one of the reasons that we're kind of swapping out for final budget books is the first Friday in August was going to be our first kind of bringing back the previous month's budget analysis. So, so every single month we're going to be keeping track of how we're meeting, where we're at in this budget. By departments, we're going to be staggering the spend so that, fiscal year starts next week. I know our finance teams also and our department heads have been working on policies and procedures in this area, and then really, doing a little bit of an after-action report too on what worked well this cycle, what we can improve on next cycle, to really keep this a continuous process. I mentioned, I think at the first presentation, I've updated the memo, which has stayed mostly the same. We're investing in human resources. We had about a 20% turnover in staff this year, so an additional HR specialist. Really excited about to help with turnover and training, and the growing nature of Ellsworth and the staffs here. So I think that's going to be a big help to the team. Public Works, we're bringing back a Public Works director, and administrative support, so we can really dial in to our infrastructure projects over the next year. I know in this budget, there's also a few things that the work goes on as well. We're talking about a bonding or ban cycle, depending on kind of future infrastructure projects. Myself, the finance team, the public works team, the econ dev team. Once we finish this, we're really going to start diving into a big new book for a capital plan, an infrastructure plan that we can start talking to council and the public at workshops about. The work continues on that front as well. The finance department, we are about to announce, if it's not on the website already, that Nate Moore, we are asking to become our full-time finance director. Really excited about that.
Congratulations.
We are also continue to beef up this team. We are bringing in a new finance manager who's currently the finance director in Orono. So he's got about 7 years of municipal budget experience. I'm told had a perfect audit last year. I think the start date on that is August 12th. Carrie, keep you right? August 12th. So really looking forward to beefing up that team and keeping our eyes on finance and improving processes here so that we can reconcile as soon as possible, which I think will really help kind of get us better in our position, what we need to bond for, and maybe going to rainy day funds and our reserve funding analysis, which we talked about earlier in this cycle. You may remember that part of it. So then communications as well, the upgrading of Maura, who's a communications assistant, to our communications director, which I think is going to be a huge addition to really engaging with the public on all the great work that we do here, but all the work that affects them. They opened a High Street bid today on that project. I haven't gotten the update yet on whether it's going to be this fall or next spring, but those types of things, all the stuff that goes on in city government all the time that the public need to know about. So looking forward to that as well. There were some things that I think are left to be done. The Parks and Recreation Director, a Deputy City Manager, there's a few positions that we haven't included in this budget, but I think really should be considered by future councils or if we reconcile and there's surplus funding, I think there's some really important things there. I also have a lot of confidence in Adam, our highway superintendent, who's working with Jana on beefing up the beautification efforts. This budget does include significantly more beautification investments as well. So, there's still more work to be done there. And then I think, as we've talked about, really trying to align our processes with the school next year so that, we have the entirety of the budget to consider for addition or cut exercises. That may be through changes to the referendum process. It could be just changes to internal processes. So, so we align both of our budget cycles together. So that is it for my kind of last talk on this side of the budget. But I'm happy to field any questions if there are any.
So I would just like to say, just kind of add on to what you said, and just thank the staff and everyone that worked on this budget so diligently. I know that we've had 16 meetings, but it's been really just the last 8 that we've actually been able to get down to the nitty-gritty of the budget, and it's all because everyone just kind of pulled forward and gave us numbers and a product that we could work with and be able to understand and be able to help set priorities. And it's really, it's a relief, but it's also just, I think it just makes me so look forward to the next year and, 25 and what we're going to be able to do. And we're going to actually be able to move forward with some of these things and have a great understanding of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So thank you, everybody, because I know that we did not make it easy for you. Does anybody just want to see, I mean, we know what the mill rate is going to be and where it is, or are we all set? Are you all had a chance to look at the budget online, are you all set?
It'd be helpful just for public who are watching this later to hear the average assessment of homes and what their bill will increase.
Sure.
I think it's on there, right?
Yeah,
It is right
it's a
there.
great point, John. I'll voice it over just for those that maybe not be
Thank you.
watching it. And you can find this budget at ellsworthmaine.gov/budget. We've also kept on there the original draft version for those that really want to nerd out and track changes between budgets. But again, we started at 18.2, we're down to 17.55. And this is, we've tried to add a lot back things for transparency here, but one of the key ones is, we could pass and say, 17.55, and here's what the total, but what does that really mean for your average taxpayer? So, the median assessed value in Ellsworth is $210,000. So for that type of property, taxpayer would be at a $234 increase for the year. And this is an estimate based on the mill rate. Larry's still doing his assessments and whatnot, so this is not final. But your $500,000 value is around a $558 increase over the previous year. Your $800,000 assessed value is $893 roughly increase for the year, and more of your larger business in Ellsworth, your $5 million value is it's about a $5,585 change. If you go back up a little bit, Mike, just to just in broader terms, the previous years, the jump from 15.7 mill rate to 17.3.
Can you show us what row you're talking about as you run through?
Yeah, F70.
F7.
Yeah,
So just rows
F70 or
is the
G's. Yeah,
confusing.
So you want to just do this?
There you go.
So there's your, your 15.7 mill rate from FY23 to FY24 of a 17.3 increase was, about a 17.6% jump from 21 million to 24,700,000 roughly. This year's increase is a bit less, at 6.5% increase over the previous year, going from 24,700,000 to 26,322,000 roughly. And the you know, if you looked at the total tax commits, they're up top there, and you can also see the breakdown of the mill. So there's, you know, what we've been talking about a lot for the last 6 or 7 weeks is the municipal mill rate. So that's now at 7.32 of the 17.55, you know, is really where we're at, which is why we talked a lot about, you know, being able to include, you know, the whole side of city government or city hall, city government spending. The school mill rates, their piece is at 9.78, and the county mill rate is at 0.46. Yeah, and thank you very much to Nate, who's in the booth, who, our IT, deputy IT administrator, who's been building all these in Excel formulas, you know, this is no longer just sending around Excel sheets back and forth, which is prone to a lot more error. This is built in the Cassell budgeting software, which is why when I've been logging changes and hearing your requests, you know, we've got to go back into the system, put it in right. But it's also really going to set us up for, as staff start budgeting and spending the money that's committed, it'll line up to these actual figures, and we'll be able to really track actuals. It's, as I mentioned in my memo, one of the really difficult parts of this process has been not having actuals because of the software change last year. So next year, this time, I think one of the other streamlinings of this process is we're going to have actuals. So we're going to have actuals every single month, and there won't be so much of trying to clean up those previous actuals. So we did a lot of work, Carrie especially too, on payroll and paycheck side of things, of, you know, not just trusting the budgeted numbers that were in the system, but actually going to the paychecks numbers, putting in all the collective bargaining agreements and what those tracked out towards. We had a great person stop by today to sort of spot check on, hey, you know, this was last year's numbers, and what about the collective bargaining agreements? And then sure enough, Carrie and Nate's spreadsheet, yep, it's tracked right here. Here's like actuals from this year. Here's how it's tracked in the collective bargaining agreement. And we brought that back into the process, which I don't think has been included in the budget book since the 2019, 2020, to have each individual position kind of outlined and what that would be. So, yeah, a lot of work here.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay.
The public hearing.
Oh, God, I forgot we had to have a public hearing. I'm so sorry.
It's just the budget.
It's just the budget. Why do we need to have public input? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'll open the public hearing. Would anybody like to talk about the budget or ask any questions? Larry? Sure.
I would just, Larry Gardner, City Assessor, I would just like to compliment the entire board for going through so many workshops. And I know the staff just worked their butts off, and Charlie came in and led like I've never seen somebody lead in a financial way. It's amazing, and I was, to tell you the truth, I was scared going into this budget, thinking, oh my gosh, I hope it's not going to be like last year. But thank you very much for all the work you put in. You all have your jobs, things you do every day, and then you come to these meetings, just like Charlie and a lot of the staff come to the meetings. We would appreciate if more citizens would come and partake, but we do have it online. So, but I just wanted to thank you all for your good efforts, especially Charlie for being such a good leader in this stuff.
Anyone else? All right. We'll close the public hearing now.
Motion to approve the budget of $26,322,939. And then further, to approve the additional budget resolutions, library expenses of $587,666. Water revenue of $1,369,165. Expenses $1,521,929. Wastewater revenue for $2,186,000. Expenses $2,107,457.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? The budget passes.
Motion to adjourn?
I didn't even get it
Oh,
out.
whoops, sorry.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? All right, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Your turn.
No, you don't.